So I think we're live. Just double check from all of us. Yeah. So hi all. Welcome to episode 13 of the All About FPL podcast or stream. I'm your host Aditya, and as usual, I have my two wonderful co-hosts or panelists, Sankalp and Suresh. Well, I think Game Week 10 was more of a controversial one, right? In terms of where West Ham got gifted two handball goals. Liverpool were kind of unfair in terms of clock, what he was saying, and all in here and there. And there was one transfer move of mine which failed miserably, and I was a bit pissed, which we'll delve into it later. But yeah, so more or less, we'll look at Game Week 10 very quickly because the next couple of weeks are just going to go past very quickly as we're approaching towards the last phase before the World Cup, before we drop off. So these are going to be our key talking points. As usual, we're going to look at Game Week 10 in brief, look at the trends, the players to target, captaincy choices here and there. We'll add if needed. We'll answer your questions and then look at our bus teams. So 10 Game Week 10 results here. Leicester lost. Not surprised for the season. Chelsea cruising past, City cruising past, Haaland yet again scoring. Newcastle scoring 5 goals against Brentford with a bit of surprise. Spurs nicking a win away. Palace beating Leeds. West Ham, again, thanks to VAR, I think they got 2 goals. Arsenal proved why they are being consistent this season. United again scraped past Everton, and then the Forest Villa game goes as a draw. So that's pretty much the boring game week is done unless you guys
Should
want to
should
read.
we should we congratulate Sankalp already, Aditya, for the title?
It's too
Uh,
early.
if Liverpool manage to get something against City this weekend, I think then we can say it has started. But no, I don't think so yet.
No, I'm just manifesting on behalf of Sankalp.
Thank you so much.
So
I think
Sankalp
the
is
entire World Cup period is what I'll be doing, right? I'll be using that break to, just pray for Arsenal every day. But good times.
so well. Game week 10 was weird one because the most shots even taken is by Bournemouth, Ryan Christie's, Skamaka, Bowen, Saka scoring a so-called allegedly offside goal by Klopp, and, and Foden again. Foden has been great over the last few weeks, but as usual, you don't know Pep what he's going to do. So those are the numbers here very, very quickly. And then chances created. Mason Mount, yes, people are talking a lot about him, getting him in this week for Luis Diaz and all. Those potential movements here and there. Foden, Caicedo, Wilson, Huminson. And yeah, this gimmick is 10 didn't go well, right? The numbers itself are showing like it was like more of very, very uh, under the radar players getting returns, more or less, except Erling Haaland. Two
So,
underperformers. Yeah.
I had a
Bowen.
couple of choices to make, and for me, the major choice was, going for 8 million midfielder, 8 to 7 million midfielder. And where should I go? The obvious choice was Foden, right? And thought a lot about it, and then I was like, Foden or Bowen. And last minute, I decided to go Zaha. The fixtures are looking great, and we know there's and the other thing that I did, I had to move out of Stones, who was injured. So I decided to go for Chilwell to make a double Chelsea fullback pair. Completely confident, I'm getting a double clean sheet. And then Potter becomes Tuchel, right? And both of them get rested.
No, at least this is fine. If you hear my transfer, what I did for this week, both of you are going to start laughing. The two underperformers here, Bowen Wilson, Bruno Guimaraes, he scored 2 goals, and Ashley Young, right, scored a goal. So that was overperformers, underperformers, and suspension and injury updates. That's the key talking point so far. These are the three top players who are on a tightrope. They're one yellow card away from suspension. Obviously, Gabriel Jesus, James Madison, and Diego Dalot. Obviously, the first two are more prominently owned rather than Dalot. And in terms of Gabriel Jesus, he didn't train for Arsenal today before their Europa League fixture. So as far as Sankalp has given me an update, I think Sankalp could just go on.
Yeah, so Simon Collins is a very well-known, reporter from Standard Times, and he has now confirmed that Jesus is just rested for today. He's fit, and I think it might be to do with his head injury, but he played after the head injury, so it's more to do with him getting rested because he's played a lot. He's not traveling this time, and he's being ready for Leeds. So I don't think there will be any change there. If you have Jesus, do not panic. Play him, especially this week. Looks very attractive. Continue, keeping him.
Yes, so that's one relief for me because I still have Gabriel Jesus. Luis Diaz is out until more or less December 22 or Jan 23 is when he's going to be back. That's a big hit for me because I had Diaz, and I'm still waiting to use my wild card. So I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do now. So, a lot
What
of lag
luxury,
all of a
man.
sudden.
Come on.
I
Then
mean, one of the best things about it is, we talking about it in detail during the game week 8-9 period, and I was so much into the game week 13 wildcard while I don't have it myself, but I feel so good that it feels like game week 13 are the guys, looking really, really clever now with the wildcard.
in terms of content for also has turned out to be great with Sankalp using an early wild card, Suresh going with the crowd, and I kind of decided, well, I'll just give it a go and see what happens. Well, let's see what's going to happen. Nobody knows. So Diaz is out
Yeah.
until at least post World Cup. Trent is, I think, out definitely. We don't know how long. We're not protecting a concrete update, the scans and all. I really don't know. Matip is gone for 2 weeks. And Reece James got injured yesterday. He got subbed off right, I think, before the first half got ended, I think, for Chelsea against Milan. And that looks like a kind of a serious injury. So we don't know how long, but he's
So
definitely in
Reese
danger for the
James,
World Cup.
I think Reese James posted yesterday, did he? Yeah, he posted saying, fingers crossed, it's not a bad one. Love for all the misses. So he posted it 18 hours before on Twitter. So, like him, I'm also, fingers crossed. I hope it's not a bad one and he plays.
Yeah, so what people were saying is that he did not leave with crutches. So that is something a positive sign, more or less, but we don't know to what extent he's really out for. That we'll know once Potter gives his pre-match uh,
So,
conference this week.
hey, quick question, Sankalp. Going back to the suspension title, right? With Jesus
Yeah.
being on four LOs, in case if he picks one, this game week against Leeds, what do you suggest for Jesus owners? There is a blank followed by if in case he picks up another LO, he'll be suspended for Southampton as well. So, what will
Yeah.
be your advice?
I'm
Four or
okay
seven?
with a temporary move out. I think it makes sense. We have couple of weeks is a big thing, right? If it's 1 week, you just rest him, but couple of weeks is a fair enough time for you to try out something and come back. Makes sense. I am completely in supportive because also if you look at his returns, he's a consistent return and something that I like about him. But at the same time, he's not an explosive guy, right? So even if that 2 weeks becomes 3 weeks, I think it's fair enough time for you to meander somewhere, see if things are working out, and then come back. But I would say try and come back because the fixtures are looking good. He's always there in the return side of things, be it goals and assists. So try and come back soon. But fair enough, can always experiment, especially if someone is there with a wild card.
Perfect. Agreed. Yeah, and also on top of it, he's on the same price where he was.
Yeah,
He's on
there's
38
no
million,
heavy
so
loss. Correct.
there's no value tied as well. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think most of the managers who wildcarded in 9 or just before now, they've definitely shipped out Jesus and have Martinelli, so they've gotten away. It's just the managers who have still stuck with Jesus from game week 1 have him. That's my case, but I am not in a pickle because if he gets suspended, I'll get him off for wildcard. So one way or the other, things work out, but that's the way you need to manage things out. We'll see how things go. These are the top injury updates. What we've got, Martial, no, we're not sure on Sunday he might be back or not. That's one tight
I
call,
think
and that's
it's
one more.
too risky of a move if
No,
you're
no, no, no.
considering Martial.
It's just the
Huh?
update, and then I think Rashford might be rested for this Europa League fixture. So that's one.
And just want to add, so Varun, who is also there in the chat, he has shared this message with me where Jacob Steinberg, who's a journalist, he has shared this information that good news for Chelsea and England fans. The early signs are Reece James' knee injury isn't serious. So it looks good. If you have him, keep him.
Yep. I think most of the injuries we should get some clarity by end of Friday, but some of the major ones, yeah, I think Trent, the likes of Trent and Luis Diaz probably it is irrespective of the injury,
Yeah.
the performance is not there, so
Yeah, Diaz is a
it's
long-term injury.
critical. Right,
Diaz
yeah.
is till World
Diaz
Cup,
is gone
so
for long term, but Trent, yeah,
yeah.
obviously, for the value, we're not
Tre-
fetching anything.
Trent, we have been talking about him for the last 3 weeks. I remember, during that game week 8-10 period when we told when we got this information, right? He has like 2 assists over the last 20 matches, so nothing to be afraid of. Go. My only regret is I went out of Trent. I didn't go for Cancelo. I was taking a risk, but that bombed really badly this game week at least.
So I think we're done with these quick updates. There are
In general, what is your takeaway post this game week 10? I have one takeaway that I can talk. What is your takeaway in general? So if I have to say, I will say, the return of the 8 million midfielders is a huge takeaway, right? With Salah going down and we having, some surplus money, I'm really looking at something like, Madison, Bowen, Foden and Saka, 4 8 million guys in the middle, or say three of these four at least, seems a good way of, putting things out for the next 3 4 weeks, right? And then see, I'm not very convinced with Salah move at all now, right? And even while I was seriously considering KDB, I feel now Foden is good enough alternative. This guy seems to be picking up form. So the return of the 8 million, something that we're discussing in the preseason for time. Now it seems that those people are really picking it up. So I would really like to have a team which just balances it out in the middle and put the money up front for say Haaland, Kane, etc., etc.
but
Yeah,
that
for me,
I
the
think
single
Sankal.
takeaway for be it Game Week 10 or for the season is very simple. Have Haaland as captain and play around with the 10 other positions. As simple as that. That's how
Definitely.
the season has become. For me personally, because I've not done that and I've got beaten very badly. So, in a nutshell,
So
that's the
yeah.
season so far for me.
Okay, we could not do a game week 9 pod. I guess we missed out on something then, Suresh.
Yeah, yeah. Right. All right,
Okay, there's some
we'll move
network
on,
issue on
Aditya.
my end. Yeah,
Hmm.
some network issue from my end. I hope the stream is live. There's not any other issues there. So
Yeah, yeah,
these
all
are
okay.
the transfer trends so far. I mean, some of them are obvious names. Some of them are a bit surprising. Loris is a bit surprising. Trossard is one, and Gianluca Scamacca. People have been talking about him since he joined West Ham in the summer. But yeah, I mean, in terms of 8 million players, is what we were discussing before. These players are playing well. Some of them are sort of not that consistent. Some of them are giving those bulk returns at once and then blanking off. So the reason I think we are more or less discussing this is because Salah is blanking. So if and when that tide is supposed to change and then you need to quickly move back, I think that is one issue. But I think that is probably we are waiting for the unlimited transfers, right? Till that phase to hit. So I think that's why we are more or less in a comfortable boat.
Definitely,
So any
definitely. I feel
any
5 6 weeks is
players,
good period.
any of these players that have caught your eye who looks like a what do you say bandwagon? Yeah.
Skamaka, for me, I'm really looking at him. He's a good proven goal scorer. He's a good forward. He's a forward guy, right? And especially for people who are there with Mitrovic, still waiting it out to see. I see Skamaka as a decent alternative. I have my money in the three forwards with Jesus, Haaland, and Kane. Currently, I'm not looking to go out of either one. But for some reason, if say Kane gets injured, the injury becomes serious. So far, it's okay. But if I see somewhere someone or like Jesus, dropping out for 2 weeks, I might experiment with Skamaka for a couple of weeks because fixes are good at least for the next 2 3 weeks.
Suresh, you want to quickly add here, or we'll move on to the outs? The,
No, the only thing for me is Anthony. Though I like him, a little bit of United bias, but the price is the only thing that puts me off. He's tad bit on the expensive side. If probably he was on 7 or something, he could have been a really nice pick. But 7.5, he seems to be the guy, for us to get the goals off late. So really good in terms of the positioning that he plays. Two home games coming up for us, but there are tricky ones as well. Newcastle, Tottenham, and Chelsea. But I think these are the games that the team on the whole has to step up. So someone like Anthony could be a differential.
yeah,
Uh, Sorry,
Anthony
before
is
we
not a
move
bad
out
pick.
of this segment,
Yeah.
just want to give out a shout, give a shout out to Surya for his Trossard, choice, something that we spoke like I think 4 weeks back. He has always been very huge fan of Trossard, and finally we see that Trossard bandwagon picking up.
Yes, that is one good shout. Trossard is Hazard 2.0, I think, right now. So yeah, Anthony, quick words on him. Yeah, I think he's Ten Hag's favorite player, favorite boy. He managed to
Yeah.
get him for 100 mil. And if you can get Bowen and Madison, why not Anthony for 7.5 above? Slightly better side, I would say. I don't want to get too overconfident here. So I mean that's the way you approach the game and the way you think. So I mean he has scored in 3 consecutive games. Anyways, look at the transfer out so far. All of the names make pretty much the sense. Like at least half of them are off injured. Trent is injured, Diaz is injured, Salah is off form, Perisic is getting rotated. Mitrovic also has we have injury doubts. Ederson, people are probably shifting their funds here and there. It looks like so. That's what is happening. Um,
Liverpool and blank.
yeah.
Yeah, and
So
I don't remember when was the last time when Liverpool players dominated the transfer out, at high numbers, particularly Diaz. Of course, it's to do with the injury and probably Trent as well. But it's kind of strange as well, to look at these names on the most transferred out page. But yeah, for obvious reasons.
yes. So I think next we'll move on to the fixtures. What we're going to see at this particular game week. We start with the Friday night deadline. Again, that's Brentford versus Brighton. Then we have all the next couple of games: Leicester, Paris, Fulham, Bournemouth, and all. Obviously, the biggest game, arguably, is on Sunday night. That's Liverpool against City. And for obvious reasons, we all of us have Haaland and maybe few of other players, like maybe Cancelo and the other players. But that's going to be a big game for Liverpool because although they're playing Rangers today, and we need to see how things are going to go without Diaz, how well they're going to fit in. I think they're probably going to be Jota, Firmino, Nunes, and Salah is a front line, and then without Matip, without Trent. So I don't know, maybe it's Konate and Gomez playing right back, and then probably Simikas again. So we don't know what is going to happen for Liverpool, and this is probably the game if they want to change their momentum, is so called what somebody asked Klopp, I think, right? Spark and all, he got pretty much pissed off. So this is the game for him to.
I think it will be a tighter game that we are expecting. Knowing Klopp, and he knows that Pep would come in to try and strike, and get Liverpool out of the way completely from title. While he has already said we are out of title race, I think he will try and use this opportunity to, create some sort of comeback. So I think they will be very, very physical. They will try the best to unsettle, City's side with the pressing, etc., etc. This is perhaps the week where will look at a differential captain possibly, because I feel
Oh,
while the cards are down, I know while the cards are down, and everyone is like Haaland, and I know Haaland will score. He'll score one for sure. I just don't think it will be like the United match. I know the United
okay.
star is
Who,
still
who who are you looking
fresh.
at? Let me probably let's just bring that captaincy
Can we
discussion a
save the
little early.
captaincy towards the end? Not now. Just save it a bit.
Okay,
Let's see. Let's see
all
how,
right.
how
We'll
quickly
come
we
back to
change our
that.
thoughts as we
Okay,
go ahead.
sure,
I
sure.
want to see. The Haaland one is
Sorry.
totally different. What happened in Game Week 9? So I went with Haaland knowing that whatever may happen, because last season I took a big slap when those Havertz playing Norwich and Salah playing United, and then that's we learned a
So you
lesson.
learned
So I
from
didn't.
that.
Yeah, I didn't make the mistake. I was like, just go with Haaland. Whatever happens, let it happen, and you know what? That's what happened. Any other games that are important? Spurs Everton one is a good game, but I think that's going to be a very defense first approach game. To be honest, for me, I don't see that Spurs are going to just run past Everton. I think defensively Everton have improved, and that's going to be a tight game as well. Chelsea, the Villa Chelsea game might be a good one. A differential shout would be like Mason Mount that people are speaking about a lot now. And what about Aubameyang? Nobody's talking about him, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
No, with
the
the number
picks
of
are
changes
picking
I
up.
saw from Mota, I'm a bit, worried what's
Skeptical.
going to happen going forward. So I'm still on the wait and watch mode with Chelsea. Though I have Reece James, but yeah, from an attacking standpoint, still wait and watch.
I have Reece James and Chilwell. I have just no option. I can only pray and hope that he starts both. Else is Neco Williams coming off the bench for me, just like he's coming off the bench for Nottingham now. But I just want to ask Suresh, right? What was your thought of the Everton match? Because I didn't see the United Everton match. What do you think of Everton defense? Is it actually that good that people are now starting to talk about it?
No, yeah. See, even before the games, even before United game, Everton were really solid. I felt they were, pretty good with against United as well. The first half, literally, they were solid. Probably we came back a little bit more towards them on the second half. Still, they are happy to give away the ball position. They don't really care about that. But the defense wise, they look really good. I'm looking at considering a defensive option from Everton. Sometime down the line for sure. But yeah, definitely the combo is working. Cody and Tronkowski. So that's really good.
Okay. I was really looking forward to the Spurs Everton. I know it may or may not be a high scoring one, right? But looking at the way United countered, at least I saw the highlights. I think there is a possibility, right? Again, I always look for that rebound factor, right? And I think Spurs are in that place where they would like to rebound, and this might be the match which can catapult. Apart from that, I'm really looking forward to the Leicester and Crystal Palace match. I have two midfielders, Madison Jaha. I want it to be a high scoring match, like 3-2 kind. I don't care who scores the hat trick, but of those two people, I want someone to score a hat trick and someone to score a brace. That's all.
You're expecting a high scoring game from those two teams where one manager's job is on the line and the other one just wants a defensive win or something. You're not
Yeah,
playing
because
FIFA here.
both the teams are conceding big chances like anything. Right? Neither of the teams are defensively solid. So I'm just hoping that they continue to be the same.
See,
I
Sankalp,
don't see.
if you hype up this game, this is going to be a 1-0 draw. Leicester will
I'm
concede from a
expecting a
set
1-0
piece.
draw. I'm expecting a 1-0 draw. I expect both teams to score a own goal, and let's see how things turn out to
One
be.
goal is too much. Come on. Leicester will concede from a
Yeah.
set piece as usual that they can't defend.
Quick shout out. So I
Perfect.
see comments from Ray. So Ray is a good friend of ours in the FPL community. Quick shout out to him. Thanks, mate, for joining, and thanks everyone for joining in.
Yeah, no stream last week. Yeah, all of us had tight schedule, and then there's a quick turnaround. We are going to have very very quick turnaround deadlines over the next few weeks, so we'll manage to fit in streams here and there.
Yeah,
Uh, that's in terms of game week 11 fixtures. I mean, Leeds Arsenal. On paper, it is a tough game because you're playing away, and Leeds are known to be an hostile crowd, and
which paper?
that is now because Arsenal is trying to win, right? So Sankalp is
No, no.
on this side.
Traditionally, Arsenal Leeds is a match actually we do well away, right? I don't know how well. Again,
Yeah,
knowing
I'm
nothing but
expecting. I'm looking forward to that game. To be honest, there could be a lot of goals. I expect.
and it's a game
Yeah,
where
that's an
Martinelli
open game.
has been doing well. The last couple of times we have been there, Martinelli has been doing really well. So I hope we continue that thing. But on paper, I would say it's on our favor.
Very
True.
good. They are serious title contenders. So he has every right to brag now, unless for us things are very different. See, probably these are the key fixtures we have covered. We're not sure about Wolves and Forest. I don't know whether they're going to appoint Lopetegui in some time. I don't know what exactly is going on with Wolves, whether they're going to do that or they're going to get somebody else. And obviously, United against Newcastle is one game. Southampton, West Ham again. That's a open game. Just I think probably West Ham will make it at the end. So let us look at some comments here and then because next we'll go on to players to target. So also we will pick out some of the comments which here blend a bit. So we're going to pick up the first comment here that's about. So he has a Madison, Rashford, Martinelli, Zaha, and Foden. Should I move for Trossard this week or wait? And who would you take out of these two? So Denver asks this question.
Yeah, I think all of them have good fixtures this week. Even
Exactly.
Foden, I feel it's a good fixture for Foden as well because you'll be attacking the side where Liverpool are not looking that good. So I won't take anyone out. I would save the transfer this week perhaps and use it in the blank and then maybe do something with it.
Exactly. I completely concur with that. And Madison is also with four yellows. That will be a good thing to hold on to see if he picks up that, and you might be short of a player for 12, so you can make a move next week as well.
Makes sense.
Yes. So this is the first player to target, that is Suresh's pick, Patson Naka. And there is one small stat which I read. Leicester haven't lost to Paris in the last 6 games meetings. Sankalp is already getting excited
That's
for a.
yeah, that's a good thing. So I mean, for me, when I was looking at Dhaka, so he's still a risk for minutes in terms of starts. So he's been getting starts here and there or coming off the bench and stuff. But he has consistently got minutes in the last 4 game weeks at least. And if you look at the budget strikers category, let's suppose say if Mitrovic is out for this week as well, or let's say for a extended period of time, I believe Patterson Daka could be a great option. The consistency in terms of sub 7 million or 7.5 million strikers, he's throwing up some good numbers over there. If you take the minutes per goal, 90 minutes per goal, 29 minutes per shot, and there are 9 goal attempts, and he scored 3 goals in the last 4 game weeks. Of course, the conversion rate is quite a bit high, somewhere around 33% or so. So that's not going to sustain in the long run. But for that value of 5.7, if you ask me, he has 3 amazing fixtures this week with Palace, then Leeds, and probably Wolves, I believe, away game. So I think it's a pretty decent shout if you ask me. If you want to pursue on someone cheaper, probably hold on till that World Cup break. I think Dhaka could be a great option. And Leicester are still trusting on their attack, on the overall aspect. The defense is still a bit complicated, I should say. So they're trying to win games by scoring more goals, yeah, because they know that they're going to concede a lot more than that. So yeah, that is my reasoning why I chose Dhaka as an option. Could be a perfect replacement for Metro in case if he's out.
Yeah, so quickly, Suresh, we've got someone from the audience also pointing out from the chat that your video feed is lagging a bit. I think it's the same from my end. Even I can see there's no sync of audio and videos. If you can just quickly
Oh, okay.
drop off and drop in.
I believe
Meanwhile,
my
we'll meanwhile we will carry on the conversation.
okay.
So I'm going to pin in the next question. Meanwhile, I think there's some background noise from where I don't know. Which one is it?
We are good.
Yeah. So wait 1 second. I can hear some disturbance going on behind.
Yeah, there
Some
is some bit of music going on.
yeah.
I don't have anything opened. Yeah, no, I don't hear
It's a
that.
bit weird.
It's coming back once again.
Yeah. Guys, just give us 1 second. Those who are watching us, we're having some audio disturbance going on. I don't know what will be picked up. Not from my mic. I think that's gone now. There's no. I think
Okay.
Sankalp, that's from your end. There's some.
I
Yeah,
have no idea from where it is coming.
you can hear
Okay.
something coming out from your end.
That's fine.
Anyways,
Let's carry on. I think it stopped now, I believe.
because Sankalp is on mute, dude.
Oh, okay. Check out your other tabs, Uncle.
If
Is,
Sankalp
is
again,
it
if
coming back
Sankalp,
again?
yes, it
Okay.
is.
Yes.
Okay, let me just check out my tabs. I'll mute myself for the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
No,
we'll
no
pick out
worries.
the next question. Hopefully, Suresh's internet has helped us a bit more. So,
Hopefully it's stable. Let's see. Let's go ahead.
no, it is lagging again. There is a sync lag going on. Anyways, so I'll pick the next question, which is up there. Is Trippier the obvious replacement for Trent, or has the Trippier boat sailed? Ooh,
No, no. Trippier boat has never sailed. You can still get on board. Trippier, I think I would put him one above even Haaland. he's delivering consistent returns for the value that he has. We have got him for. So Trippier is truly an amazing value. You can still go ahead and purchase Trippier. You can hold on. I think United are still leaky, so we might consider goal, and it could come off a set piece as well because we're so poor defending set pieces still. So there's a good chance that he comes out with an assist or a goal. So Trippier board has not sailed.
Yes,
Keep
please go
Trip.
on.
I mean, jump on Trippier. He for me is the best 5 million guy which we bought in the first game week for me. And the only regret is I benched him first one game, I think the City game or something like that, and he still gave us points. And then I realized, okay, this is a guy who's giving us points. There's no point benching him. I will just go with him. If you have not got him, I think selling Trent and getting him is the best way you can spend that money.
Definitely.
In game week one, I went Dini over Trippier, and I feel like slapping myself. But then I managed to get Trippier back in at some time. But yeah, this the coin toss moves are always the one that hurts towards the end, once you realize it didn't go your way. Anyways, we look at the next player to pick. That is Sankalp's Diego Costa. This is a bit surprising one pointer, I guess.
No,
So
take
so
that one pointer as well away with an yellow card.
we are looking at, I think, possible Mitrovic replacements, right? And that's the reason I'm, looking at it. Again, these are differential options that you can consider, right? If you ask me, the player that to target this week might be someone like Madison, Jaha, those kind of guys. But if you're looking for a differential option and if you're trying to fill a hole, right? I think Mitrovic is the most obvious hole in a lot of people's, especially the game week 8, 9 wildcarders, teams. So I think Diego Costa is worth, giving it a shot, especially against Nottingham Forest, who was just not looking, good at the defense. He's a guy who normally, looks to bully defenders who are not physically strong, and Nottingham Forest at the back. I just don't see any leaders out there who can stop someone like him. He's not done anything so far, so this is just pure eye test vibes. I think Chelsea he looked decent, but the match before where he played for the first time, I think he looked good. He doesn't look unfit. He doesn't look, someone. And I saw him in Atletico Madrid, towards the final time. I thought he's just gone. But now that I'm seeing him, he looks really, really fit. So if you're looking for a punt, I feel just like, Patson Daka, right? But I do know that Daka plays for a better attacking team. At least Leicester creates chances, and Wolves might not create as much. But at the same time, Costa will hog the bonus points if he scores. Daka might not, right? So that's the advantage of going with someone like Diego Costa, and he's a proven goal scorer. If he picks up a form, he picks up a form.
Just a disclaimer: we are not talking about the obvious players. We don't want to talk about Haaland, Ford, and again the same names. We're going with different players, maybe purely punts, because obviously there's no point talking about the same players. So if you want, you can pick these players always. Just keep them in mind in your thinking. Just don't want to talk the same set of players again. That's why we're going a bit different here in terms of the player selections. So I'll go on to the next pick unless Suresh wants to add something.
No, I'm fine. I think worth considering, given the reputation that he has and the goal scoring credibility. But yeah, worth considering for a couple of weeks.
Okay, the next slide is my player to pick. Why did my phone buzz? And it is none other than Cristiano Ronaldo. So
Come
not
on.
so he's priced 10.2, ownership is 2.5. He's playing Newcastle last time. Last season vibes, he scored a brace against them. That was his return game. And I think that goal against Everton probably ended his goal route. That's why he was so thankful. Finally, the goal came from somewhere. And I don't know whether he's going to play in the Europa League against Omonia. So I don't know whether he's going to play or he's going to get rested because Martial is, I think, probably will get rested again unless he's fully back. He's not going to play. So, and even
If he
Sancho has not been
plays,
that.
if he
So
plays in Europa, then I think Rashford comes in as a forward again, right, for Newcastle.
Yeah, I
um,
expect the same as well.
I
I,
I
I
think
expect him to
I
start
think
midweek
Ronaldo.
and Mhm.
I don't think United is going to play strong front line against Omonia. To be honest, I
They
might
lose
be
them.
totally wrong. They won't. Come on, it's a home game. We're not going to lose. We're not so stupid. So I think it might be like Pelistri, Ilanga, and some Anthony when play ending up getting a chance again. So I don't know, or maybe Ronaldo and Rashford. Rashford is
No, but at the
definitely
same
rested.
time, if you watch the press conference of Ten Hag, he was stressing upon the importance of uh, securing the place in the group stages and how he wants to finish on the top. So I think he won't take any chances. Of course, that's it's a very relatively smaller club. No offense, but I think he would still go out with a decent team.
Yeah, he will go with a decent team. And that's what I'm saying. It's not going to be like complete kids playing up front and all, but it will have the balance of youth, experienced players, and the regular starters. So there is a fair chance Ronaldo might play for a few minutes or maybe a half or so, and then if they kind of that, let's see what happens. But this is my play to target. There are more players. I mean, I don't want to. There are more two players. I might say Mason Mount is one, and Darwin Nunes. I might say another player, but he's getting offside a lot, so he's getting caught offside. So I don't know, but different players again here and there to pick.
I
And
think
yeah,
what works for your favor is United. Ronaldo is being used very wisely by Ten Hag, right? So the fact that he has played for 60 odd minutes for against in the Everton match helps you. Maybe he gets rested for the Europa match and comes in, right? But what goes against is this Newcastle team is completely different coach, different goalkeeper. Then you had a debutant, young goalkeeper who came and scoffed two chances for United for Ronaldo to score, right? So you have Nick Pope, who is a really strong goalkeeper, but worth us out, right? It depends on where you're moving out of. For example, if you're moving out of Kane and we suddenly get this news that Kane might not be fit for the weekend match, I think it's a very good shout and something that you can worth having fun with. I had a lot of fun with Ronaldo last season, so I have fond memories, but I'm still a bit wary of when to jump. I'm not
yeah,
sure whether this is the right time to jump.
these are just points. Just see the midweek fixture and see how things go, and then take a call with all the injury updates. So again, it's Friday evening. It's going to be a lot of helter-skelter here and there, depending on the news and all, because we have midweek Premier League fixtures also. So I don't know how managers are going to take into account of that and place their teams. So that's one thing. Next, look at the chat. Bring up next couple of questions. So Ray says that he's considering bringing in Darwin in game week 12, but which combo would you prefer with Darwin? Zaha, Kane, or Son Mitrovic?
Yeah, I think Son Mitrovic.
Okay. Sankalp is on it.
I'm more with the Zaha Kane thing because I feel Kane seems to be delivering a bit more consistently. Son is still 50-50. He's looking good, but he's not scoring kind of one game hat trick. But apart from that, not really there, right? And Zaha seems a better fit also. Right. I mean, I'm normally a very biased guy against Zaha. I just don't like him as a pick. Very difficult to predict his returns. He's just a guy you can keep and hope he returns in 10 weeks. You know that he'll give you returns in some 5 weeks, but you never know when those weeks will come, right? So short term point we don't know, but of a long term point, I think Kane and Zaha look a bit more balanced to me with Nunes.
Mm, yes, and both are also penalty takers. So that is one
Correct.
more thing. Depending on VAR, if it works well, you get a penalty. So that is one thing. And another question. Uh, Joe Gomez from Liverpool after game week 11.
Will not go Liverpool defense.
His Sankalp has made up his mind. He will not get any Liverpool player at all.
No, I'm okay with the player, but I just don't think the defense looks as settled, right? When it comes to
Yeah.
defense, look for settled defenses, and that's where you go, right? I think Klopp will take some time before that defense gets settled, and I think his priority also will be attack because Liverpool are failing a lot on the attack side, so that's where his focus will be. So if you're going there, go and punt on the attack side. For example, Nunes, Jota, these are credible players who score and give you points. But defense, I feel it's a bit early. I'll see for another 2 3 weeks.
Mm. Yes, the defense, I think it's stay away. We'll need to see once they get back their solidity back, probably then we can start getting their defensive assets. We'll go. I think we'll probably switch on to Q&A segment because I think we're done with our players to target anyways, and we'll just keep on answering questions. So let me get up the next question. That was, I think, Reece James replacement. So is that Dunk or Minks?
I think
Always
if
dunk.
Reece James is fit, I would better suggest to hold on. There is no hurry to sell Reece James on. If he is not fit, then probably you can consider someone like a Dunk. If that's the only option that you have, Dunk versus a Minx, I would pick Dunk any day.
Yeah, I mean, because Brighton have played well right this season, so obviously, and even the new coach also seems to look very well. I mean, the style of play is pretty much similar, and they're very clear what they want to do. And obviously, Dunk is the
Yeah,
most
yeah,
sensible pick because Gerrard, we don't know what's going to happen, whether he's going to keep his job or lose his job. That is one thing, and then that's why I think that's Dunk is obviously a better pick. There's no doubt.
there's
So where
another
is
question as well. I think for TA replacement, Trent
yes?
replacement. Okay, let's see. Was going to back the transfer. If you don't have, you say okay. You also already have Trippier and James. Okay. Let me quickly check the Everton fixture. I think Everton's defense would be an alternative, if you ask me. So Everton's
Wait, Suresh, we just
Yeah. I can also we can also look at someone like Cucurella, right? If you feel that yeah, Chilwell is getting benched, or even if Chilwell plays, I think Cucurella when he's fit, he will take that LCB spot, right? So if you're really looking at someone, I would trust someone like Cucurella for a couple of weeks before you can move that money to a Cancelo in case you don't have Cancelo because the name Cancelo is not there. So play Cucurella for a couple of weeks and then move to someone like Cancelo. Keep that money with you.
Yeah, well, the only reason that puts me off with Cancelo is probably a tricky game this week and a blank. So that's the
Yeah, so
only
keep
thing can,
Cucurella for
can
a
be.
couple of weeks. Keep Cucurella for a couple of weeks and then move to Cancelo after the blank.
Yeah, yeah, that could be an option. Or if you want to downgrade and spend that money elsewhere on a midfield or something, I would still suggest Everton's defense. This game week could be a little tricky with Tottenham, but you can hold on to a defender if you get them, until the break of game week 16. They have relatively good set of fixtures.
hmm. Yes, I think I'm pretty much like the Cucurella pick uh, because it's all you get a Chelsea cover, and we're not sure about Reece James' fitness. We need to wait and see what happens. So might as well swap James out if he's out for maybe a couple of weeks or so. But again, yeah, again we need to wait on the presses and see what info we get more. We'll take few questions that are up on the screen. Is Firmino a good option?
Firmino would be a wild punt if you ask me. To be honest, he has this thing that he scores against the bigger teams, and he works similarly like how Jesus was working, in the past seasons. He has this sweet purple patches, once in a while. So he tends to score in that, a bunch of games and stuff. So I think it's not a bad shout, but again, it depends on whom you replace with, whom you're getting Firmino for. But yeah, definitely worth a shot.
Uh, I like Firmino as a pick, but he's a risky point, right? If I'm going there, I might go
Definitely.
Jota instead because Jota is going to take that left, for wing back position, left wing position instead of Diaz now. That he's the best fit guy and he's also on form. While Firmino is slightly better in form, I think uh, Jota gives you that security at least for some time, right? So fixtures are there after City. I think Liverpool have good fixtures and going one forward makes sense. Firmino slightly riskier. Jota is your slightly safer pick, but Firmino might have a bigger upside. You never. He seems the best guy in form at least for Liverpool as of things now.
Yeah, because we have even Fabio Carvalho in the picture now, so we don't know if Klopp suddenly all of a sudden decides to give Firmino rest and then play Jota and then Nunes. I think Nunes
Yeah,
is
that's very much
8.9,
possible
right?
as well. Yeah, and there's the other tricky part that since you guys spoke about the options that they have, Klopp might want to play a more younger guy, centrally, to do the running and all the work that he wants to get out of the younger guys than Firmino. So I think that's also a possibility.
Yes. Madison on risk. Yes, Madison is on 4 yellows, one away from suspension. Gabriel Jesus or Firmino? A lot of love for Roberto Firmino. Asking very repetitive questions here.
The recency
I think
bias.
there's again.
That's the thing.
I think there's some noise again from Sankalp, and I think we are getting some music. It's gone off mute. Okay. Just scanning through some questions here and there. Um, Martinelli or Saka? I think it's Martinelli just because of the price.
Next to
Straight away.
Martinelli. Yeah. Easy
Yeah.
option. I still regret selling him on my wildcard, but yeah, Martinelli, easy.
It's not bad, Suresh. And I'm going to tell it out. In game week 10, I sold Martinelli for Rashford.
I did
Desi,
it
both of them
just 2 weeks back. Very simple. No. I'll
Huh?
tell you, it is bad that I sold Martinelli in my wildcard. I'll tell you whom I got, and then you'll realize that I made a bigger mistake than you. I sold Martinelli for Sinistera. He he got suspended. I sold Sinistera for Rashford. His goal was cancelled. And Martinelli is enjoying his run still. So you're far better off.
But my hunch was almost perfect because again VAR ruled out Rashford's goal. So if they can, the issue with VAR is that if they call that as handball, then Liverpool should have got a pen. If they get the soft handball and all those things into picture where they're not able to maintain consistency, then we are going to have issues here and there. So
Which handball are we talking about?
Here we go.
So the Gabriel one was actually a deflection of his chest. So the video came out. It hit his chest and then went to his hand. That's why it was not given. The player also showed it to the referee. So when I was looking at it,
no,
initially
What about
thought was
Rashford
that
it's a
then?
bad.
Rashford had the ball hit his stomach or probably his abdomen, went onto his chest, went onto his chin.
uh,
Still, it was
yeah,
given out.
and
See,
it makes no sense. If you look at most of the decisions since last season, they made this change in rule where they said the rule very specifically now says that if the ball gets deflected from any part of your body to your hand, it's not a penalty to be given. Okay, it does not speak about obviously whether it's a goal to be given or not, but from a penalty point of view, it very clearly the rule very clearly suggests that it will not be a penalty. I saw the Rashford thing and I was like, this makes no sense because if for penalty you are for following one approach and saying the defender does not give a penalty, the same should go for the forward as well while scoring, right? Consistency obviously is a big problem here, but I think the rule is very clear there that if it's a deflection, it's not a penalty. Then that's where we got saved at least.
I think our next episode we'll keep a ref watch segment because I don't know all of a sudden Sankalp has turned to become a referee. So yeah, I mean Antonio's goal was a bit surprising the way he
that
handled
that
the
is
ball so
that is
beautifully.
ridiculous. I had two images or two videos running parallel. One was Antonio, one was Rashford's. And I was laughing to myself. What on earth are we doing here?
Okay, enough
Uh,
of banter.
Yeah, let's move
We'll go to
on
the
to
next
other
question.
questions. Yeah.
Should I do Trent KDB to Guehi Cucurella, Guehi or Cucurella and Son Zaha Sterling for a -4?
Okay.
I won't do -4. Let KDB
Same.
face
Don't take any.
Liverpool. He is
Yeah,
normally
KDB is
getting
out.
involved. Yeah, yeah. So just move
Exactly.
out of Trent. Just move out of
Trent,
Trent
yeah,
and
that should
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
maybe Cucurella might be better. So that's not the obvious option at this point what we have.
And which player
So
from Everton in defense? I would suggest go for any of the centre backs, Cody or Trokowski. You know,
why not
they
Mikolenko?
I like Michaelenko. I was about to come there. Not a very big fan of their wing backs. It's not that they're going to throw in crosses and create chances more often. From a nailed on minutes perspective, I would still safely pick Cody or a Trokowski and sit tight with that. Miklanko, yeah, definitely an alternate to that. I think one of these three, I wouldn't go Coleman because anytime Patterson comes back, probably he's going to take that position back. So I think one of these three should do good.
I'm going to look at the screen if we have missed out any good questions rather than the repetitive ones. The Trossard good to go for this game week.
Yeah, why not? He's on a good run of form. Brentford, we saw the number of defensive mistakes that they made against Newcastle. They literally gifted 3 goals. I don't know if in my recent memory has any team gifted these many goals in a single game. But Trossard is on a good form. Of course, his conversion rate is quite high. That is tend to drop, I would assume, but still a very good option.
Okay, the next question I'm going to pin up is almost a dilemma for most of us. That is it better to try save a transfer game week 13 to maximize picking City and Arsenal assets rather than spending transfers in game week 12?
100%.
There you go.
Logically, yes. Logically,
Yeah, if
completely
you
yes.
ask, sorry,
But the
sorry, go
only
ahead.
thing is, how many players do you have, right? For example, someone like me, I have 4 players. What I'm doing is I'm actually moving out of one more player of City this week. So I have only 3 players, and I'm looking at benching them next week. That's my plan here now, right? If you are able to do something similar, move out one player this week, save a transfer next week, and then move to all the City players, City Arsenal players the week after. That makes sense. That's what I'm trying to do. But if you are someone with 4 or 5 players, right? It's not sustainable. You cannot move bench 5 players or play with 9 players, right? So you will have to move out of City or Arsenal players for 1 week or 2 weeks, right? And then come back. So you'll have to take that hit. So that is the thing. I think plan ahead and try and get some out this week as well. City is playing Liverpool, makes sense to move out of City maybe. And that's the point. Or maybe you feel that Arsenal leads might be tighter than it normally is, but whatever you're doing, either do it this week or do it in game week 30. Don't do it the next game week.
Yes, I think Sankalp is pretty much addressed. There is one question on the screen which says that I have 5 players that blank in game week 12. Any plans?
This week, whatever you want to do, do it this week. Right? Make it 3, and then just ride out game week 12. Right? You can always come back again game week 13. But those 2 players have to be someone who will give you good points over this week and next week. So pick up players who have good fixtures over these game weeks.
There was one question up here. Doherty for a 2 week punt, wildcard in game week 13.
Sorry, come again. What is the question?
Is Doherty a good punt for 2 weeks?
Oh, Doherty. I'm not quite sure, man. To be honest, I wouldn't risk at that level.
I would say for this week it is a good shout because Everton game is a tight one. You may end up sneaking a clean sheet. So that's the only thing I would say. The next game they play is against United, so we don't know how it's going to go. So at least against Everton, you have a decent chance of clean sheet. Let's look at any other questions that we have. I think we've covered everything up. Let's quickly discuss on captaincy for the next 2 minutes and then wrap up. So captaincy. Who is the best option? Everybody's struggling to find one.
I mean, The two obvious option is Haaland, of course. As Sankalp mentioned in the earlier stream today, probably this week you might want to experiment, but given the form he is in, given the damage that he could do, that's what is putting me off. The only problem is I'm ready to explore, but where are the alternate options? That's the kind of, if we look at differential options, the differential options so far hasn't worked, or at least the premium differential options, the go-to options that we had all along, that hasn't been working. On the game week
So
where Haaland scored a hat trick against United, I saw a couple of folks have went with Madison, so that fetched a really good set of points back. But do we see that kind of an option once again? That's the only question that I would ask myself. So if you are ready to gamble at that level, yes, why not? Madison himself is another good option this week, if you ask me, against Crystal Palace at home. The other option would be, if Mitro comes back from injury, probably Mitro. I'm not too curious on going back to Salah. Somehow I feel there's a bit of things that is happening in the background. He was taken off early, and things are all that is happening with Liverpool. I'm not really confident in going back to captaining Salah. So I would still bet
uh,
leave it at best with Haaland or try someone like Madison.
I'll just give one scenario, right? Something that we normally read or something that we normally see is whenever something exceptional happens, right? Our mind always goes to that, right? So what Haaland did against United was the exception, right? Just a week before, Haaland was playing against Wolves at home, and Kane was playing Leicester at home, right? And I went Kane for against Leicester rather than going for Haaland. Kane did not do much. Son scored that hat trick. Kane did not do much, but Kane still outscored Haaland by a single point. Okay, so I got 2 point difference here, right? But I took that decision 1 week earlier, right? So it is okay taking that decision. It's just that you need to know that when you can take those decisions, right? So Haaland is
True.
not going to give you a hat trick every game week, that's for sure, right? Just think of which are the hat tricks, which are the game weeks where you feel his ceiling is 2 goals, and you find someone who has a similar ceiling at least, right? So this game week, I feel Kane looks good as a differential option if he's fit. If he's fit, I'm not saying Kane will score a hat trick. I see him someone as who's ticking along, who's scoring 1 goal and maybe giving 1 assist, right? Those kind of things. But I also don't think Haaland will score more than 1 goal. So I'm looking at this week as a good time to assist. Again, Madison remains a strong shout for this as well, because Crystal Palace keep on conceding, big chances. So I think he will give us some returns there as well. It might not, completely give you a very high differential with respect to Haaland, and that's the reason I'm a bit worried because I'll go there and I will get something similar. I'm not looking at a very strong differential, but at the same time, if you're someone who's looking to punt or looking to gain ranks, this game week for me looks like a decent game week to try it out. I don't think you will lose out a lot.
Okay, quick question, Sankalp. Since you brought Spurs into the discussion, would you do hockey from, let's say, Salah's son and back to Salah in game week 12? Or at least
I'll do
Salah to
a
Son?
I'll do a Salah to Sun, wait it out, and go to KDB. If you have the money there, I'm more favor of going to KDB or even for Foden, right? If you feel that Foden continues the run, game week 13, just move to one of the City assists. I'll not go back to Salah because that form is not there. You yourself have pointed out correctly where that somewhere it's broken, right?
Yeah.
The system is broken. It is not helping Salah, and him being taken off by the 70th minute just showed that Klopp is accepting it, right? And I'm sure Salah must be really, really pissed off because you don't see it happening in big games, and Liverpool chasing a match, right, etc., right? So makes sense to move out of him. Son is a decent point, but eventually look to move to more consistent performers like someone like Ford and KDB. They seem like the guys on form.
Mhm. Okay, so Sankar pretty much summed up the captaincy options here. I don't need to readdress it again. Anywhere in terms of Salah to Son, if people are wondering what to do, maybe a decent shout and then move around with the transfers here and now, here and there. Sorry. So yeah, I think that brings us to the definitely the end of this episode, and we have to finish up, wrap it up in 1 hour. That's what we're planning. So yeah, I hope those who listened had a nice time. Do drop in your questions and all. We'll do answer them on social media, Twitter and Instagram. Do drop us a like, subscribe to our channel, and drop us a rating on all the other platforms. Yeah, we will see you all next week. Uh, before game week 12, that's I think a Tuesday night deadline. So we'll try to do a deadline stream before game week 12, and we'll discuss on game week 12 how game week 11 goes up, and look at the other transfers, injuries, and wildcard picks here and there. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the stream, and yeah, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks everyone.